Hello and welcome to Business Insider with Mario Toneguzzi on YYC Business, brought to you by MegaPixx Media. Joining me today is Ron Odagaki, who is Senior Sales Associate of Retail with JLL. Thanks for joining us today, Ron.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you guys put out your Q3 retail report recently. What I found interesting is that you're talking about retail leasing being back to pre-pandemic levels. Can you talk a little bit about that and what you're seeing in the market today?
Well, I think, first of all, it's about the deal volume. It's about the number of square feet that tenants and landlords are transacting on. And it's that volume that has returned to what we've seen prior to the pandemic starting.
Mm-hmm. Why is that returned?
I believe a number of things. There were, first of all, I think in the midst of 2020, there was a number of deals that were put on hold in light of the uncertainty at the outset of the pandemic. I think as time went on, a lot of those retailers and landlords understood or tried to understand what as time went on, what the future looked like. And in many cases, that a lot of those projects then were restarted after a period of time. And it's taken this long, from say March of 2020 to Q2, Q3, to reset to that volume of deal making.
Okay, so where is the leasing activity taking place? What kind of places, even geographically?
A lot of it is open mall, grocery store anchored, shopping centers where there is a high percentage of daily needs traffic. That type of property has been very, I think retailers understand what they get into when they see that daily needs traffic and the types of sales numbers that they think they can achieve. And I think just with that, with the reopening, I don't want to say a normalization of that traffic that people have seen, that both landlords and retailers are understanding maybe what the future holds and are now ready to commit to deals.
Okay, what about downtown?
Downtown has still been a struggle. I think that there has been the reduction of that and again, that daily traffic that the suburbs are more acquainted with, especially over the pandemic. And I think that that return to the office, be it the companies that are deciding, or the government that is asking for work from home, that has been a challenge in terms of the number of footsteps in the downtown core compared to what it has been pre-pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any thoughts about the enclosed shopping centers, whether, the Chinooks and Market Malls of this world here in the city? How have they been faring in terms of leasing activity lately?
I think there's still a bit of caution in terms of the enclosed mall. And possibly just malls in general, that it is the how do they deal with security? How do they deal with traffic? Unlike an open mall where you're outside. I think, however, coming into Q4, when you're talking about the Christmas season, when you're talking about poor weather, that might be an incentive for customers to relook at the enclosed mall as a shopping destination more often.
Yeah, and you mentioned Q4, which we're into now. What do you expect in the market and from a leasing activity point of view as we go into the last couple of months of the year?
I think that given the summer that we had, in terms of the weather, in terms of the customers not facing as many restrictions as they had in the past, that there had been this pent-up demand for retail spending, and I think the leasing activity had reflected that as well. Having said that, coming into Q4 with the onset of the fourth wave and the data that perhaps, and the data itself plus perception of the data, that we might see a little more caution in Q4 in terms of leasing activity, especially with retailers that have a dedicated experiential component to it. For example, a sit-down restaurant. There are a number of headwinds facing that category as well, and other categories for sure. But I think just given those factors that we may see a little bit of a, not a pullback, but certainly slowing down and re-looking at the landscape.
All right, super. Well, thanks, Ron, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that was Ron Odagaki, who is Senior Sales Associate with JLL. This has been Business Insider with Mario Toneguzzi on YYC Business, brought to you by MegaPixx Media. Thanks for joining us.